I gotta read you something Robin just handed me, and boy, I find this disturbing, and I just see this heating up. I'm going to read it to you straight, and then I'm going to put on a congressman, a good guy named Bernie Sanders out of Vermont, who's going to tell you something. But you got to hear this, and I hope everyone pays attention. And ever since I announced I'm going to satellite, this has become the main focus of the conservative senators and congressmen. This is, I'll read it. President Bush supports applying decency standards to cable and satellite television shows and offering help to parents so they can decide what their kids should watch. Now, a White House spokesman says the president has expressed support for legislation that passed the House last year, calling for increasing fines on violators of broadcasting decency limits. TV and radio stations are already barred from airing indecent material from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. I don't understand why they're not barred from doing it all day and night. Senate Commerce Committee Chairman Ted Stevens has said he would like to apply those limits to cable and satellite, or require providers to offer packages of channels that exclude channels with material that crosses the line. They already do that, by the way. You pay for satellite and cable. There is something so demonic in this, something so evil. They're now creeping in and saying, forget the Constitution. You're going to, anything you pay for, by the way, the Internet's next. Don't kid yourself. Because all I know is you can click on anything on the Internet. I don't care how old you are.
It's wide open.
Right. This is the future. Things you pay for will be censored. Now, let me explain something to you, and then I'll put on Congressman Bernie Sanders. Just real quick. I'm not going to get all heavy with you. Bill Clinton put a fortune into the V-chip. You know there's a V-chip now that exists? Anybody who wants to block anything in their home over cable or satellite, they can do it. Mm-hmm. No one is buying V-chips. Nobody cares about V-chips.
Even if they have them already in their television. If they buy a new television, it's already in there, they're not using
them.
The
most religious people who write letters to the FCC day and night, who claim they don't watch Sex and the City, who claim they don't want any smut or pornography, they don't use the V-chip. You know that? There's already a V-chip. Mm-hmm. You're perfectly able to keep this so-called smut out of your home.
The government doesn't need to do a thing. You can do it yourself.
Congressman Bernie Sanders from Vermont, I don't mean to sound paranoid, but ever since I announced my satellite deal, I am now seeing the focus going to satellite radio as opposed to terrestrial radio. Am I the target of every politician?
No, I don't think you're the target. I think there's an effort on the part of the extreme right-wingers and people who think that because they don't like something, nobody in America should be able to hear it and see it. It's not just you.
You're the only congressman that I know of. I'm going to tell you about this guy right here on the phone, Bernie Sanders. He proposed a bill to prevent the government from censoring the content of cable TV shows and internet websites.
Yeah, I read about this yesterday.
Yep. His bill was in response to the recently approved House legislation increasing the FCC indecency fines.
And it's in response to exactly what you talked about. It seems to me, A, it's unconstitutional. The government does not have a right to get into cable. And number two, if people are paying for what they want to see, they have a right to see it. And what all of this is about, Howard, is moving us to a less free society in many respects, cutting out different points of view. If people don't like your program, anybody else's program, you know what they could do? They could turn it off.
I just read about a religious broadcaster that was fired this week because he went on and said, someone asked him, do you think the Pope will go to heaven? It was a theoretical discussion. And the guy said something about how only born-again Christians can go to heaven. You know, whatever his opinion
Whatever his belief is.
He was fired for that.
That's right.
Now, if you, and then the guy even said that the dish goes, gee, I never did anything like Howard Stern. Why are they firing me? Because it doesn't stop with me. They're going to censor Tony Soprano. They're going to censor...
That's exactly what they're going to do. Let me tell you what they're already doing. I don't know if you know this. You've seen the film Saving Private Ryan, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Fantastic film.
Right.
ABC showed it nationally on Veterans Day. 60 ABC affiliates refused to put it on the air because they were afraid they were going to be fined.
6-0.
6-0, because obviously in the middle of a war, in the film, soldiers use profanity. The PBS could not recently put it, a film, distribute it, because in the middle of the war in Iraq, bombs are going off. Soldiers use profanity. They had to censor that.
Well, here's the key question. How many of your fellow congressmen, who I'm actually losing respect for, how many of your fellow congressmen are going to support your bill?
Well, so far we've got about 10 on the bill. It's H.R. 1440. But I think when the American people learn what's going on and the fact that The Sopranos and every other show that they like on cable could be censored, then more and more people will be supporting this bill. But we need the help of the American people.
All right, how can we help you? Because I want to get behind this.
All right, get your listeners to call up their members of Congress and ask them to support H.R. 1440. Tell them that in America we still live in a free society. We don't want the government regulating every aspect of our life in terms of what we watch. Tell them that it is an outrage that the government will be expanding the censorship and regulations to cable and to the internet and to satellite radio.
If I call up my congressman and I tell them support H.R. 1440,
yes.
Since you're a congressman, you know the answer to this. Do they listen to these phone calls? Or
sure they do. If enough of those phone calls come in, absolutely. And here's the way. We are the majority on this case. We are absolutely the majority.
Well, I know, and you know what? We're sitting passively as all our rights are being taken away.
That is exactly right. If the average American knows that they're going to take away your ability to watch the program you want on cable, that person will be outraged.
Now I got to find out who my congressman is.
Oh, please.
Who is my congressman, Robin?
I'm not sure who your congressman is.
Who is your congressman?
I don't know that either.
You're kidding.
I got an eye tie.
All right, here's what I'm going to do first. I'm going to find out who my congressman is. And once I find out who he is, I'm going to call and tell them to support H.R. 1440.
Yes.
And for more information, people can go to our website, which is bernie.house.gov. We have a lot of stuff on that.
Say that again, bernie.house.gov?
Correct.
All right. Thank you, Bernie.
Okay, thank
You're
you.
a good man. I'm way into you.
Okay, take care.
I want to sleep over your house and watch Survivor with you.
I've been dreaming about you and Provolone.